So what kind of businesses has the most potential to bring profit in 2022? To elaborate more about this topic, today we have the Center of Economic and Law Studies, or Celios, Director Bhima Yudhistira. Thank you for joining us, Mas Bhima.
Good morning, Mas Bhima.
Good morning and Happy New Year to you.
Good to see you again.
Mas Bhima, would like to ask, what is your overall outlook for economy in Indonesia in 2022?
In this year, 2022, we see that there's still a good opportunity, especially for the commodity-based sectors, mining, plantation. We have the commodity bonanza projection until end of the 2022. And on the other hand, we see the health sector's business also still growing, even though the number of the COVID patient is declining, but we see some opportunity in the health sectors. And also in the pharmaceutical, manufacturing sector, trade, information, IT, digital business is also part of the economic recovery opportunity in these years. The business sectors that, on the other hand, that have a slow recovery, one is the transportation, hotel, restaurant sectors. They're still waiting for the opening of the wider community mobility.
Okay, so Mas Bhima, what are some of the factors that have been taken into consideration when making these sort of projections? Is it the rollout, the continuing rollout of the vaccinations? Is it any new variants that could pop up? Because that's still unpredictable. What are some of the major factors that are used in order to come up with these projections?
We have a certain factor or assumption. The first one is related to the new variant Omicron. Of course, the new variant Omicron have a challenge to our health sectors, to the social sector as well. But we see the increasing number of the people get vaccination. It's also helping to tackle the dangers of the variant of Omicrons. And the second one, we see that people who already enjoyed digitalization during the pandemic, it tends to be a persistent. They don't want to be back to use the conventional way. And the third one, ongoing the bonanza commodity in some of the sectors, mining, plantation, also brings some opportunity and then bring growing number of the project, growing number of the investment, especially in the outer Java. Sumatra, Kalimantan, Sulawesi also benefiting from the commodity boom.
Right. Now, we'd like to shift our focus to MSMEs. During the past few years, MSMEs are the backbones for the national economy. What do you think the projection for 2022 and onwards? Do you think it's still going to be the backbone of Indonesia economy?
Still, SME is part of the backbone. We have 64 million SMEs, and 97% of total labor is worked in the SME. And SME also playing role not only as a backbone during the crisis, but also a game changer during the recovery of the crisis. Crisis in 1998, Asian financial crisis at the time, the survivor and also hero is SME. And I think it's also same in 2022 when there is an economic recovery. SME also playing a major role to sustain the labor absorption and also multiplier effect, and also impacting the big business opportunity also.
Mas Bhima, a lot of these MSMEs are food related, culinary related, and we do know that we have heard that staple food prices will rise earlier on this year. So how is this going to, or could it impact MSMEs?
Yeah, we see there's also challenge in terms of the inflation of the volatile foods, and also inflation coming from the energy tariff that impacting the business opportunity and also business margin for the SME. Right. This is also a challenge, but I see the brightest spot in the culinary sectors. The culinary business is growing very rapidly, supported by the marketing through the social media and also emergence of the online food delivery.
Right.
Some small business owners, such as restaurants, they are able to survive. They develop the new product and are using many promo during the pandemic to survive. So there needs to be innovation and reading what kind of consumer segment you want to approach. Every consumer segment, for instance, if we're talking about the increasing price of the raw materials, top of the consumers, like 10% of the richest consumers in Indonesia, is still agile. It's not impacting much about the price hikes compared with the middle and lower consumers.
Right. And knowing that MSMEs is essentially the backbone for economic recovery, what support can government give to these MSMEs, digital or not?
Go Digital is one of the most important supports, not only in Indonesia but also in Malaysia. They give like subsidies for the internet quotas for SMEs up to 1 gigabyte per day, and also subsidies in terms of the food delivery or in terms of the logistics. They give also subsidy, and we also can adopt that kind of a subsidy. But the most important things that tackle the SME going digital is the human resources. The skill gap is still wide, especially in the outer Java, in the village level. So the government also tackle this kind of skill gap problem with a lot of skill development and training, collaboration with the platform e-commerce, for instance, or logistic platform, how to engage more with the SME.
Yeah, and I guess digital literacy falls into there as well, because it's great for them to have all this quota, but make sure that they're used properly and to its full potential as well.
Yep.
So, Mas Bhima, are there any tips then, since we do know MSMEs or SMEs and new entrepreneurs are still going to grow in 2022? So we assume that there'll be plenty more that will try to open their new small businesses. What tips would you have for those that plan to open a business this year?
Yeah, the first one is understand about the consumers, understand about how the market will flow or will going this year. For instance, the cosmetic industry, the beauty industry, body care industry is still growing.
Yes.
And also you can pick some good segment of it. For example, the lower middle class, perhaps lowering their consumption in the food and beverage due to the inflation, but still consume more the cosmetic or beauty products.
Right.
So in these segments, promo and discount are still the main attraction for purchasing decision if the consumer is sensitive to the increase of the price. And SME also need to accelerate digital adoption, I think, in all lines, from the business production, distribution, bookkeeping, lending to marketing. The faster the adoption of the SME, the better the resistance to economic pressures in this year.
Right. Thank you for the insight. And would like to shift our focus to the digital sector, Mas Bhima. In 2021, 6 startups become unicorns. Also, one of them just reached unicorns within a few years only, and another one is from a new segment. What's your forecast in 2022?
There is some change in the digital economy in 2022. For instance, there is a growing number of the super apps. It means that one apps have so many digital services from e-commerce, food delivery, online lending or fintech lending, and also they merge with the digital bank. There will be like a new trend to have one apps that you can do all things that you need in the digital market. And also there is a booming in terms of insurtech. During the pandemic, the concern of the health issue, the concern of using insurance to protect yourself, protect your family is increasing worldwide, especially in Indonesia. And there's also booming of the insurtech. So we see a lot of companies in insurance and technology combining, selling their product in these years. And agri-tech, from the agriculture's perspective, is also growing needs because there is a price of the food. There's also benefiting some farmers. They need more adoption of technology.
All right, how about the number of startups and exchanges? Are those projected to increase as well?
The number of the startups currently is 2,400 startups unit in Indonesia. We still top 5 in all over the world compared with the other countries. We just left behind with the India, US, because they're already first mover in the kind of the startup ecosystem. But we still 5 biggest number of startup, and we see many investors maybe more selective. They will give some kind of uh, they can give some funding to the startup, but however, some of the startup maybe in e-commerce the market is already matures, and also in the education sectors the startup is already have a big opportunity. Maybe there is a number of startup growing up, but in terms of the venture capital, they will select it startup based on their projection of the profitability in the next following years.
Yes, and I believe it's still a very dynamic environment of startup ecosystem as well in Indonesia. I would like to circle back to our economic recovery, Mas Bhima. How do you think our economic recovery in 2022 will compare with other countries?
If we comparing to the other countries, of course, some emerging market like Turkey is considered risky because they're having inflation above 30%, and also they're being hit hard by the tapering off or normalization of the monetary policy from the major country like the US central bank. And the other side we see from the economic in the developed country, they're still struggling with the Omicron. So yeah, some of the countries still struggling with the pandemic, but hopefully Indonesia perform better this year with the 4 up to 5% economic growth or GDP growth year on year.
Yeah, and I think we cannot forget to give credit to the government's regulations allowing not only the people to stay healthy, but businesses as well, and the financial sector to stay healthy as well. And it's a balancing act all the time. We see it, but so far the government is doing a great job of it, so we hope that it continues. Thank you, Mas Bhima, for your time. Always great talking to you.
Thank you.
Our
Thank
first
you so
of
much for your
many
insight.
conversations in 2022.
Bye.
Hopefully. We'll talk to you soon. Take
Thank
care.
you, Mas Bhima.
Have a
Great
day.
insights.
Thank you.